Hello, this is Jane Goodall. What the world needs. First, we need a clear understanding that climate change, loss of biodiversity, and the pandemic are all disasters that we brought upon ourselves by our disrespect of nature and animals. Clearly, we need a new relationship with the natural world. We need to understand we can't have unlimited economic development on a planet with finite natural resources and a growing population. Because the lifestyle of the affluent society places an unsustainable demand on the resources of the natural world, we need to change that. We need a new definition of success that doesn't just depend on obtaining wealth and power, but about living in harmony with nature and each other. We must alleviate poverty, as the very poor harm the natural world simply in order to survive, cutting down trees to grow more food or make money from charcoal. In cities, the poor buy the cheapest junk food just in order to survive. They're unable to ask if it harmed the environment or is cheap because of unfair wages. We need to phase out industrial farming with its reliance on chemical, toxic pesticides and herbicides that are so devastating to biodiversity and kill the soil. We need to move towards small family farms, regenerative agriculture, and so on, ban unsustainable commercial fishing, and move towards a sustainable plant-based diet. All this for the health of the planet and our own. We must recognize that animals are not just commodities, they're sentient beings, each one crowded in our factory farms, shipped around the world, sold in wildlife markets, suffering in medical and pharmaceutical research labs. Each one is an individual capable of feeling fear, despair, and pain. Every business should operate according to sustainable, ethical standards that ensure fair wages along the supply chain, support local communities, and show respect for the environment. We need to reconnect the natural world of which we are a part and on which we depend. All schools should provide information on climate change, loss of biodiversity, and what can be done about it, and especially for young children, encourage outdoor education. We all need to understand different cultures and religions and obey the golden rule common to every major religion: do to others as you would have them do to you. Finally, the world needs hope, because without hope we fall into apathy and do nothing, and then we're doomed. But each and every one of us needs to take action and understand that we make an impact on the planet every single day, and we can choose what sort of impact we make, what we buy, how we treat animals and each other. Millions of ethical choices, even small ones, cumulatively move us towards a better world for all. Thank you.
The deepest longing for the soul is love. Deep inside each one of us is the yearning to find that someone special. But is this yearning just a figment of our own insecurities? Let us try to get some answers from our expert guests in the discussion on Soulmates and the Yearning, everything you need to know. We welcome Yoga Master Zenna Ariel and our very own Dr. Manjiri Prabhu to the IFSI studio. Yogacharini Zenna Ariel, now residing in Western Canada, spent a few years in India and has been teaching Gita Nand Yoga for 51 years. From Vishwa Unnayan Samsad, she received the titles of Yoga Maharatna, Yoga Shiromani, Mantra Guru, and an honorary doctorate of dance. She is also known as Nritya Yogini, that is dancing yogini. Recently, Zenna was given the title Yog Shakti from Yogacharya Dr. Anand Bhavnani of ICYER. She's a Reiki master teacher, an interfaith minister, a senior teacher for the Yoga Association of Alberta, and has been honored by the Indigenous Cree people of Canada. Dr. Manjiri Prabhu is an award winning international author of 18 books, mystery and thriller writer, a short filmmaker, and the curator and founder director of 2 international festivals, Pune International Literary Festival and International Festival of Spiritual India for Humanity and Wisdom. She is also an animal welfare activist promoting, caring, and adoption of stray dogs for more than 35 years. We request Dr. Prabhu to lead the discussion, and we are looking forward to this exciting conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu, and welcome, Zenna, to IFSI. Pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So, as you know, the topic today is a fun topic, but at the same time, a soul-searching topic. Because when we talk about soulmates, and we talk about obviously this session is all about romance. Okay, romance and love can be really baffling sometimes, very fulfilling at the same time, emotionally charging, and it gets all the more complicated if you meet a person and you feel, oh, this person comes from my last life, or I have a soul connection which goes beyond this life. So, my first question to you is, do you believe in soulmates? Is there something called a soulmate, that perhaps crosses over many lifetimes to come and meet you? And secondly, how do you recognize one if you see her or him?
Thank you. Yes, I do believe in soulmates. I believe that actually on this planet, we're all soulmates. We all came to be here at the same time to learn various lessons. But the romantic side of soulmate is searching for my heart soulmate or my twin flame. And everyone has that. We all have romanticism in us. And, we travel from lifetime to lifetime in soul family groups so that we can learn lessons. Now, the soul mate, or I would say mates, there's many kind of mates, but the romantic one can be someone that we least expect. It can be an old friend that all of a sudden we go, oh, you're truly a soulmate. But that friend has been a soulmate because a soulmate sticks by you, loves you. You have that that connection where you just feel this warmth. So friends can be soulmates, sisters can be soulmates, a mother can be a soulmate. But that yearning that we have in our heart is more romantic, isn't it? Because we're all romantic fools. Yeah. we all want to have that one person who will be there for us all the time. So the yearning actually doesn't stop, does it? If you are alone, you might see a couple together and you'll be really, you'll feel sad in your heart because like, why don't I have that? What's wrong with me? So to attract a soulmate, we have to be actually a whole person, I think, not a half a person. Because when you're a half a person, then you don't feel complete in yourself. And in attracting a soulmate, who wants to have a person who is needy and clingy and all of that stuff? So I believe in soulmates. The yearning is there. And will you recognize your soulmate? You know what? I think sometimes you will, and sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll just kiss in the night and be gone, and that's enough for this lifetime. And maybe in 1,000 lifetimes, you'll meet again. So that's my little take on it.
Yeah, I agree that you need to be, everyone does say that you need to be whole yourself to attract another whole. But, Sadhguru, you must have heard of Sadhguru. He says that you have, yeah, okay. So Sadhguru says that our soul, every soul should be a complete state of being. then why does he need, or he or she need, another soul? So it's a paradox. On one hand, we say that you should be complete to attract another complete soul. But there's this school of thought which says, if you are complete, why would you need somebody else? What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I love Sadhguru, and I believe what he
Okay.
says.
Okay.
He's more advanced soul and has this understanding. But
Okay.
he was also married. So
Yes.
he must have had that yearning in his soul, although I know it's arranged marriages too. But he really loves his wife, and I'm sure was attached to her. You cannot help but be attached to, a person who's with you day to day. And the sadness that he felt must have been horrific. So even though at his elevated spiritual state, he had to have a normal day-to-day relationship with a person. Why? Why do we go into those relationships? Because they teach us our most intense and valuable lessons in life. It's very easy to be superficial with someone that you barely know. But when you know them day to day, the ins and outs and how they react to every little thing, that's when the growing starts. So I agree with him that we should be complete in ourselves. But unless you believe you're complete in yourself, then you're not. Because and we have to do that by trial and error. It's like we try different relationships. Well, in the West we do. I know in India it's been one life, one wife, one guru. So
Yes.
so for we in the West, we tend to experiment more with different relationships, and it's not with wisdom. It's with I would say lust. Like, oh, that guy is really cute, or it's not a soul completion. It's soul experimentation in a way. But when you are, I think it's really important. Like for me, I feel like when I really take care of myself, when I'm at my best, is when I attract a person who is loving and kind and more my soul complement, I would say. Did I answer the question?
Well, partly because I was thinking of, if you're complete in yourself, why would you need someone else? But like you said, no matter even if you're complete in yourself, you still feel that yearning for companionship, and so it's a human nature. I think basically it's human. Humans need someone. We are born that way. We can't live in isolation. We need mates. So
Well,
in that sense, I guess, yeah, you were saying, Zenna.
yes. Actually, in regards to the spiritual sense, though, if you've been doing your sadhana and there's divine love, and once one has this divine love, that's when we don't need a mate, because
Right.
we're half man and half woman. I had a Tibetan Buddhist teacher who said to me, Zenna, God is on the inside. No, God on the inside, goddess on the outside. And for men, it would be the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
God on the outside, goddess on the inside. So we are that half man, half woman, as Shiva is depicted as in many instances as well. So when we have that spiritual alignment with the divine, that love is superior to human love. That love is everywhere and in everything. So I do agree with him that as a soul who is complete, that there is no actual need for a mate. But as we see in, great gurus and guides, Sharda Devi and Ramakrishna and Sri Aurobindo and the mother, I mean, they balance. When I look for teachers, actually, I like to see male and female, because that female energy is not expressed enough in a higher, not religious, but spiritual sense. So yes, if we are complete in ourselves as realized souls, why would we need someone else? We have everything.
Yeah, but not all of us attain in that kind of spiritual soulness.
Yeah.
We are mortal human beings, and we do need soulmates on earth. So Deepak Chopra says that when your vibrations match those of another's, then you find your soulmate. So your vibrations have to match. Or even Abraham says that when you come in alignment with your core, vibrationally, then you find someone who's also in alignment with their core. Like you said, complete and complete. I mean, so they're all saying more or less, I think, the same thing, that you need to be complete to find another complete person. But how does one feel complete and be complete when you're constantly yearning for someone in your life?
Well, when you're yearning, you're not complete, are you?
No.
Yeah, you really do need somebody else. When we're in a relationship, that person is a mirror to us, and we learn I would say, some of our most valuable and difficult lessons when we're in relationship. It actually quickens our evolution to be in relationship. It's really easy to be by yourself, and because you have no one. If you put the dishes in the dishwasher wrong, you have no one to tell you.
Yeah.
So our vibration rate raises as we do sadhana. So that's why it's important to be introspective, to do meditation, to do yoga or tai chi, or to chant, or to go to see a guru. We need to uplift our vibration, and in doing that, we attract a person of a higher vibration. I mean, we have seen what happens with people of lower vibrations. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of confusion, anger. And so we must work on our own spiritual upliftment to be able to attract somebody who that we really want to be with. So not to be tested all the time, right? Because we put ourselves through the love test.
Yeah.
And then we worry if we don't my dad said to me, if you don't love yourself, how can you expect others to love you?
Love you. Yeah.
So you have to love yourself first, and then attract a mate for the highest. But most of us, we go through the baby steps in relationship, which is fine. That's how we learn. So, I mean, of course, Sadhguru and Deepak are right.
and Abraham Hicks also is right. Yeah, but so the gist of what you said is, if you want to attract the right person and you want to reduce your yearning, then you have to do sadhana. And sadhana would mean meditation, yoga, find a guru, and kind of elevate your vibration so that you meet someone with that vibration. But is that an assurance? Is that an assurance that you will definitely one day, like we say, sometimes we say that people are made in pairs. There's a male and female, like the whole universe is in pairs. Let's say. So if you do your sadhana and you feel that you've reached a level, is there any guarantee that you are going to meet somebody? Are people really made in pairs? What do you think?
I don't really know.
It's okay. You can take a guess.
I mean, everything points to that direction, because this is a planet of polarities.
Right.
And yes, I do believe, like I've said to myself, isn't there one person on this planet that I resonate with, that will balance and harmonize with me and understand me?
Yeah.
And yes, I do think we are probably made in pairs, but there's no guarantee that we're going to meet our true one soulmate in this lifetime. That person may have passed. And so we are many times we are on our own, right? We are on our own for a long time, and then we meet a soulmate or a twin flame. But during the time that we're on our own, it's the time of our development. We may spend 1,000 years apart and then come together. We do not know, probably in the long run. But yes, I do believe we are meant to be together. I think we're more powerful that way, in regard those who are more elevated then really have a purpose in life where they will really help this planet to evolve. I mean, that's what we're all here for anyway. So answer is yes.
Okay, but have you? I mean, I know that in your mail you gave me some personal details, but I would like to ask you: do you think that over all these years, you, like you said, in the West, you go through relationships, and sometimes you have many. Do you think in your life you found your soulmate?
I think I found a few soulmates. I don't think I
Okay.
found my twin flame.
Twin flame. Okay.
Twin flame is more intense than a soulmate because soulmates, as I said earlier, can be your family members,
Yeah.
friends, you know, but a twin flame is more intense. Once I sat down at a New Year's Eve party and this woman said to me, she was a shaman, and she said, "Oh, you must meet this other shaman." And I sat down and beside him, and I had to look behind me because it was like this vast empty space behind me that went on forever. And I knew that I had known him for a long time. And I ended up studying with him, and we became partners. And we'd just be sitting there, and I could tell what he was thinking. He could tell what I was thinking. And we were very, very compatible. But we were not ready for each other. He had some intense problems, and I wasn't willing to accept them. So he had some homework to do before I could feel that we could actually, be married. So that's what I mean about one partner might be ready and the other one isn't.
Might not be ready. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's usually in twin flames. There's always a chaser and a runner also. Like, for example, one person knows that this is a twin flame relationship and the other person isn't awakened enough. So he's chasing, he's running away from the relationship because he's fearful of it. And so this runner chaser space goes on for a while. So that's about twin flames. My thing is, you said that you sensed, the space, and you knew that he was your twin flame, I'm assuming. How likely, I mean, what is the percentage, do you think? I mean, I don't mean actual percentage, but what is the likelihood of a person in one lifetime actually meeting a twin flame and marrying that person?
To tell you the truth, I don't think the percentage is very high, because the purpose of a twin flame is that you bring light to this planet. And so if one person is the chaser and one is the runner, then that is not going to happen in a harmonious way. They still have to evolve more. I want to tell you about another relationship that is just phenomenal. And that's my mother and father. My dad was born in the Ukraine in a little village called Chepennet. My mother was born in Canada in a little village called Chepennet, same name.
Wow.
and their parents knew each other, and they're a year apart. My dad was a year older, and their parents moved to Canada, and they lived on farms nearby, and they were very dear friends. So my dad's mom had my aunt, who was just an infant, and so she was nursing that baby. And my mom was born, and her mom was very ill and couldn't nurse her for a while. So, they have wet nurses. I know in India they have that too. So my mom was sent to my paternal grandmother. My paternal grandmother breastfed both my mom and my dad. They were fed at the same breast. And it's funny, when they got older, they fell in love when they were 20. I never saw them fight. I never heard a nasty word at all. They were so compatible and so loving. And to me, they were twin flames who had worked it all out in past lifetimes. How many people do you know that fed at the same breast and got married?
Yeah. Very few. Which brings me to this whole thing about marriage. Like you said, in India, usually it's like one wife, one husband, one guru, one whatever. So it's one. I'm not sure how relevant or valid it is in the coming years, or it's going to be. But when I look at the Indian arranged marriage system, or even if it's just a love marriage, I mean, many of the marriages I've seen, honestly, work on compromise. I mean, that's what marriage is all about, compromising and sacrifices and adjustments, and that's what marriage is all about. You said your parents had a beautiful twin flame relationship in marriage. In India, I mean, I'm really very doubtful how many people would really have. I mean, of course, there are people who have beautiful relationships, but when you come to arranged marriages, how in heavens can you ever find your soulmate? I mean, I'm just asking you this as a kind of, is there an alternate solution to finding a soulmate within an arranged marriage system?
Well, the only reason that any couple comes together, whether it's an arranged marriage or not, is because it is their destiny.
Yes.
And it is their destiny to learn from each other, to learn to love each other. I always used to think it doesn't matter who I'm with. I can love them. I can respect them. But I found when actual reality came, yes, to a point. And then the individual issues came up. But you see, in India, I think you have more perseverance, more patience, more, it's a much older society, really. The Western world is still the Wild West. I personally believe that all the people who came to North America are people who wanted something really different from Europe or from wherever, India, wherever they came from. They were ready for a change. They were ready for some kind of freedom. But in that freedom, there is a lack of perseverance and patience, which older societies have.
Yeah.
And so I would not say in some marriages here that compromise is part of it. It's my way or the highway. That's why there's so many divorces.
Yeah.
So
I agree. But then you're also right when you say that destiny brings them together. They're destined to be together. So the universe operates in such a way that they happen to meet in an arranged marriage, but they're actually destined to spend their lives together. Of course, there are so many, arranged marriage system in India has worked. It is a surefire method of getting married in a way. So it has worked, because in India, it's not just, two people getting married. It's the families that interact and get married too. We are a family culture, and which is why probably it has actually worked, because the family support is immense as compared to the West, where, youngsters get out of the house at a very young age and start dating. So I think it's a complete difference of culture. There's one question that I want to take from Sonia Prabhu. One second. And the question is being complete a gift of God or needs conscious effort?
what a beautiful question. Everything is a gift from God. And we have a choice whether to accept that gift or not. And when we accept it, then it is a conscious effort and joy to fulfill that marriage with God, right? The first marriage is with God. Second marriage is with your spouse. And if it's in that order, then you are bound to succeed.
Okay, great. So one question, since you spoke about doing sadhana and to raise vibrations to find your soulmate, because then you connect, your vibrations align, and you connect. Is there any way, is there any method or any, how should I call it, any subject, not subject, actually any field, like for example, numerology, like if you add another A to your name, your destiny could change? Or is there any meditation that if you can do to raise your vibrations to attract a soulmate? Can you suggest or recommend any such exercise for us?
I can. One exercise that I found was really good is just get a sheet of paper, sit quietly, and really ponder upon what you want in a partner. What qualities would make you feel happy to be with this person? And ultimately, when we want something, it's good for us to try and be that. If you want a good friend and a partner, then you be a good friend. If you want a fun partner, then see where you're maybe too serious in your life and have to bring some fun into it. So writing it down, make a whole list. It doesn't matter how many qualities you would like. Likes to travel, likes to go for walks, is tidy around the house, puts the toothpaste away. I mean, get into details. This is what you would like with a live-in partner or in a marriage. And then just put it aside. And eventually, someone will turn up with most of those qualities. But when you do find somebody, it's like, to me, when you find someone is when you would check the numerology, check definitely the astrology. I think that's why a lot of Indian marriages are so successful, because they do that. And because it's a family thing. Lots of times young people, I mean, they can't see the flaws in the other person, or they can't even see the benefits of the other person. But to me personally, I tell people here, if you want to go in a relationship, say a woman wants to go in a relationship, I say, you see how he treats his family. You see especially how he treats his mother, because that is how he's going to treat you.
Yeah.
So I think I like that arranged part of it. Once I found that the family was really important and friends, if I did see somebody that I was interested in, I would always get my girlfriends together and they'd have a chat and they'd say, "Oh yeah, or no, you have the wrong alley." So yes, I feel that family and friends opinions and the astrology, the numerology, yes, why not? Because we get really foolish when we think we're in love. We only see the good. The stars are in our eyes, right?
True. So, so what you've recommended is like a visualization technique, where you visualize whom you want to live with, what kind of a partner you want, and you write it all down. And it's like connecting with the universe and sending a message out to the universe, saying, this is what I want, this is whom I believe in, and probably detach from it and allow him or her to come whenever the time is right. The universal timing is right. Right. Now, sometimes I've felt, like, for example, I dreamt of my husband before I got married to him, and at a point where literally I didn't even get along. We used to work in the same office, and I disliked him. But it was in my dream, one dream, that I saw me with him, and I woke up sweating, saying, "Oh no!" I ended up I ended up marrying him ultimately. So, what I'm trying to say is, in my real life, we barely got along, but my dream and my subconscious told me what was going to happen in the future. I literally saw me with him in a car with my head resting on his shoulder and having a sense of having come home. And I got up thinking, what a weird dream. I don't even like this person. So, do you believe in these premonitory dreams? Like, for example, if some soulmate is going to come into your life, do you believe that the universe tells you, that this, and even brings him into your life or her into your life in your dream? Do you think that happens?
Absolutely. I really liked a person when I was in my early 20s, but it just wasn't meant to be. And he was only a friend, but I really liked him. I just really, really liked him. And years later, like 35 years later, we ended up reconnecting, and we fell in love and we got married. And actually, we were married for quite a few years, and then we decided that we wanted to end our marriage. He wanted to be in the countryside. I wanted to be in the city, and we ended our marriage. But we're still really good friends. I just talked to him on the phone. He lives way on the other side of Canada, but we're still really good friends, and we still love each other. You know what? I'm a romantic at heart. I think once you love someone, that love never dies. It's always there. And my sorrow is when relationships end, and people hate each other and everything. There's a natural time for soulmates to be together. Sometimes it's for a lifetime, sometimes it's not. But when it's not, there is really a recognition inside you. And if you don't recognize it, then you'll try everything. You go here, you go, to this psychologist, to this, group meeting, to this, whatever. But somewhere in your soul, you know that you are being, it's like the universe, divine is pulling you apart. Your time together is complete. And why can't we do it in a loving way, to honor that person, to thank them for all the time they've spent with you and the time they've invested in you and the love that you've had? But you know what people do? It's hard to do it that way. They would rather say, oh, I hate the way you do that. I can't stand that. You did this to me. Da, 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 da. They'd rather get into arguments and fights. There's some really ugly separations. And to me, there's no need for it. I think it can be a beautiful, almost ceremonial separating, because as souls, we know as souls, we'll meet again at the right time when our evolution takes it to another step. So it's really important to honor the person that you're with, to love that person at all times, and to know that your souls are always interconnected. We're like all these little, bits of stardust in the universe that come together, and we are so fortunate to be here on this planet at this time, to even have access to our loving heart to attract somebody who is loving. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's part of, I would say, Sadhguru and Deepak Chopra's is, if it doesn't work, there's still love. There's support. But you're not living together. You're not in day-to-day relationship. You're still soulmates.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to share the same life, but you can share a friendship. And so that is possible. What about if I completely agree that once you love forever, no matter what happens, because some part of your heart will always keep loving that person, or at least what you shared with that person when you were in love with that person. I don't think that memory ever goes away. So, but what if is it possible to love two people at the same time with the same intensity?
That is a good question.
Yes.
And I asked that question. My guru was Dr. Swami Gitananda Giri from South India, from Pondicherry. And his consort and wife is Amaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani, a beautiful, beautiful soul. So we were walking on the beach at the Bay in Bengal, and I asked her that exact question.
Okay, good. Great minds think alike.
But she just looked at me like I was crazy, and she didn't say a word. And so I had to ponder that, like, oh.
Did I say something wrong? Okay.
Correct. And
but I'm sure the times have changed now. Probably the time you asked it and the time now, many years may have passed. So I think I'm safe in asking you this question. Can you love two people at the same time with the same intensity?
Well, I'd say let's look to the gods for that. Ganesha has two wives. There are many gods who have two wives. In Tibet, a woman was allowed to have 5 husbands. They would all be in the same family so as not to separate the family wealth, right? So it takes, again, an advanced soul to love equally. I'd say personally, why not?
Why not? Yes.
It depends on the heart capacity of the person. And it also, though, depends on the evolution of the other two people that are
involved in it. Yeah.
Because we don't want to go, like, jealousy is a real ugly emotion. And if there's those type of emotions in in a relationship where you love two people equally, then I don't think that's fair. It takes a lot of effort, I think, to do that. I've never experienced that. So have you?
Of course, I have I have a huge capacity to love people. Huge. I could probably not two, maybe three at a time. I could love all three at the same time. I keep feeling that I need to curb my emotions a little bit. No, but
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. What were you saying?
Well, I mean, there's what I'm talking about is really, really deep, intense love of more the partner kind, right?
Yeah. Because that's what I mean. Because it's
loving everybody is, of course.
But I too believe that it is possible to love two people, because you can connect, like you said, you can have any number of soulmates, and there is a possibility that two can come on at the same time. The timing of the universe could work in such a way that probably you find yourself, connecting to two soulmates. Maybe you're married to one and maybe one is a friend, or maybe you're not married to either one, or whatever, but I think that these are all conditions that human beings put on themselves, that you should love one person at a time. And I don't think we were born that way, because if you look at the universe, as the way it's made, I think love is in abundance. And I mean all kinds of love, but love is in abundance. When you look at animals, there's no monogamy at all. And if we are a part of the universe, then we have disciplined ourselves to love one person at a time for the sake of civilization and for the sake of, how should I say, a more organized life. Or otherwise we would be rampant, because of this. So it's a kind of a self-disciplinatory action. But one cannot control one's heart, I feel. And I don't think it's right to make any person feel guilty, because you don't follow the society norms, if you really love two people at a time. I really believe that. And so I think it's possible. And if you can't help it and you love somebody else other than your spouse, I'm just saying, well, so be it. I mean, you can't help it. It's something that you can't help. How you deal with it, how maturely you deal with it, is another issue completely. But with matters of the heart, there's very little you can control. I really feel that. And which is where the yearning comes in. The whole topic is about finding your soulmate and the yearning. And how does one, okay, there's one question. Let me just, okay. So someone has asked for Zenna's views on live-in relationships. What do you think of live-in relationships?
Well, in the West, that is done a lot. And that is done because people are not sure. They've seen so many divorces here, and they've seen ugly divorces, and they don't want to go through it. So they can love someone intensely and be committed to that person, but they don't want to marry them. And I've seen that, with some of my friends as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually not a bad idea for young couples to live with each other for a while before they get married, especially in our society. In the Indian society, not so much, because as we discussed, you have the family,
yes,
relationships happening. But, I think it's really important to know what you're getting into, especially here in the West, and to meet families. Like, there's lots of times where couples are in a relationship and it's a serious relationship when the guy says, I want you to meet my mom.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
This guy's serious.
Yeah, yes, of course.
But if he doesn't, he doesn't want to take you, it's like, I'm going to a family event and I'll see you another time, then that you're not really that special to him.
Yeah, true.
So.
Yeah. Well, in India, it begins with the family. The parents see, the parents would approve, and probably then the girl or the boy. So it works exactly opposite. Of course, times are changing, and well, I had a love marriage, so not changing. We've been changing for a long time, over and over the years. Yeah. But yes, still the normal system is where, parents see the boy or the girl first. But so when so live-in relationships in India are also now happening. It's not as if it's not happening, but as a normal thing, parents would always say, why don't you just get married? You know, why do you want to just do this? Just get married. You know, it solves a lot of problems, especially the societal, the way people look at you. But yeah, I guess again, it's a culture difference. Are there any other questions? Let me just check. Okay, I think that's it, and it's only just we have only 10 minutes left. So, Zenna, you know, we've spoken about all this, and can you tell me three things, any three things that one must do to find or to be, how should it, not just to be complete for a soulmate, but to reduce the yearning. My whole concern is because every time when you are to be complete, you really need to go through a process, you know, process of loving yourself, of all that whole thing. And I don't think it's always possible. It's easy to say love yourself. It's very difficult to really love yourself, you know, if you're honest with with ourselves. So what are yeah, I think it's a process. I mean, it'll take time, you know, months and years, with the sadhana, like you said, raising vibrations. It's a long process. It's a journey of the self to have a complete self, to wait for the right person to arrive. I think it's a long journey. But what does one do about the yearning? And I would like you to give me at least three things that one can do to reduce the yearning.
That yearning can be so painful.
Yes.
Really, really painful. And we've all experienced it. It's, you know, women and probably men have cried oceans of tears over the yearning. And the love, respect, and honoring that we have in ourselves. Like some people come to a point where it's like, okay, I give up. There's nobody for me. I'll just go about my life and do what I need to do. And that's where they have a choice. They either fall down, they don't take care of themselves, they get depressed and think that they're not lovable or cuddly or those things. Or they say, I'm just going to get on with it. I'm okay as I am. And I accept I'm okay as I am. So the most important thing is take good care of yourself. You're yearning, but you know, wake up in the morning, make your bed, get yourself looking decent. You know, go out. You're not going to meet anybody if you don't go out. You're not going to be an interesting person. Cultivate your own interests. Something that I don't like that happens in relationships is many times the woman melds in with the male. You know, they like football, so they go to the football games. They like this. You know, you learn something new and everything, but keep your own interests. Whatever you're interested in, dive in, enjoy, and that will make you a more interesting person. You know, I don't think anybody wants to have a person who is boring. Be exciting to yourself first. Be happy with yourself first. Be kind to yourself first. Be real and discerning. And when you see somebody who resonates with you, when you look in the eyes and you know, like I find men know more than women in regards to relationships. A guy will say to his mate, his friend, I'm going to marry that girl. And he does. He just knows it's like men are more direct. Women, we go around in circles. And we drive ourselves nuts doing that.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah.
So be discerning. Be calm in your decision about relationships. Because sometimes that excitement, that airy-fairiness, that lightheadedness, we need to be grounded before we make the ultimate decisions. And the yearn for God or the sun in Nepal, they have a tradition where the girl is married twice in the Nawari tradition. First time, the bell plant, and they have a big ceremony. The girl is dressed in a red sari and everything. Next one, she gets married to the sun. She has to be in a room for 12 days, not seeing the sun, with only women, and she does a mudra when she comes out. They have a huge ceremony. And the third one is to a man. And if the man dies, she's still married to the sun. So I married my daughter to the sun here in Canada. And I have this little ceremony. I feel the sun is my husband. Om Suryaya Namaha. I bow down to my husband. So that you have this spiritual sense of support. It can be Shiva. I love Shiva. He's like the most manly man that I know, right? So have this concept of a spiritual partner that will always be with you.
Yeah.
Because that gives you that inner spiritual strength. So,
yeah.
And when you do find a person, accept that person as he or she is. Because you've written down your list, and that person has like 5 or 10 of those things, but not all of them. So you're going to change him so that he will have all your qualities. No, doesn't work.
Yeah.
So be practical in your yearning as well.
Yeah.
I know I've given more than 3.
No, it's all right. So we are almost to the end of our session, but I'm going to just quickly summarize, for people out there who want to understand soulmates, is that if you want a soulmate, first be the perfect person for yourself. Okay, raise your vibrations, do sadhana, do meditation, and be in alignment with yourself. Okay, and then you'll find somebody who's in alignment with himself, who's also both of you aligned together. Along the process, of course, love yourself. And most importantly, I think, as far as the yearning goes, be kind to yourself, because you're only human. Okay. Love is something which can happen suddenly. So be kind to yourself and accept yourself, I think, the way you are, and love yourself the way you are. And get yourself involved in some kind of a spiritual grounding. I like that a lot, because I think it's important. Like you said, you're married to the sun. You have this great power in your life, which is going to take care of you and is going to satisfy your should I say, desire to be loved. You feel the power around you if you are in love with the sun. I understand where that comes from, because it's very spiritual. So I think it's important to have a spiritual element in your life, one way or the other. So I think that's great. Would you like to add something from your side?
No, I think that covers it. And I pray, of course, that everyone finds their soulmate or their twin flame, and that their lives will be, they'll live happily ever after.
Beautiful. Yeah. Agree. Thank you so much. Thank you, Zenna.
Thank you. This has been delightful.
Yes, thank you. Okay, I think the anchor is still coming in. Okay, there she is. I was just wondering where she goes. Yeah. You're mute, Renu. Renu, you're mute. Yeah.
I'm audible now?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all your insights. Those out there seeking love must have found the answers for sure. Thank you, Yogacharini, Zenna Ariel, and Dr. Manjiri Prabhu for being IFSI guests. Thank you, audience, for being here today. We hope to see you tomorrow with the same zeal and enthusiasm. For day 2, we have more such discussions, conversations, and talks lined up for you. Before signing off, we thank our title sponsor, Celebrite Media, for the wholehearted support. Good night.